Hey, this is Smiles here with a new review. Nintendo's little pink puffball finds himself in the new adventure, Kirby's Return to Dreamland for the Nintendo Wii. Kirby's Return to Dreamland has been in the making since 2005. Originally a GameCube title, Nintendo first showed a trailer for it and then canceled it. The fate of the game was still up in the air until its announcement early last year. When watching the initial trailer, I was excited to play a co-op Kirby game that didn't require multiple cables like Amazing Mirror. Playing a full-fledged multiplayer adventure with Kirby sounds epic, but was the 6-year wait worth it? Kirby's Return to Dreamland has a simple premise. Kirby is being chased by King Dedede and Waddle Dee while Meta Knight is reading a book. Suddenly, a spaceship falls from the sky and crash lands into Dreamland. Kirby and his friends investigate and find out that the captain of the Lord Starguarder, Magolor, is missing vital ship parts. Yep, your mission is to go out and collect the ship parts to repair his spacecraft. The story is simple enough, but takes a serious plot twist right after you defeat the supposed final boss. Like the plot, gameplay is also very simple. The game is played by holding the Wiimote sideways, using the directional pads to move, 2 to jump and float, and 1 to attack. Kirby gains a new move called the Super Inhale. By shaking the Wiimote while inhaling, Kirby can eat up large blocks and enemies. Of course, Kirby's Return to Dreamland is filled with copy abilities galore. Return to Dreamland features 3 new abilities: Water, Whip, and Leaf. Fun fact, the water ability was shown off in the cancelled GameCube trailer. Kirby also has access to super abilities. By swallowing a super enemy, Kirby can use super abilities for a limited time. These abilities are mainly used to unlock the path to Sphere Dimmer Dimension. Super abilities have the power to decimate anything unfortunate enough to find himself in front of Kirby, and are actually quite fun to play with. This game isn't really that challenging, but that isn't saying much. After all, Kirby games are known for being easier than the average game. The game requires you to collect the energy spheres located in each level. While some energy spheres require a keen eye to find, others are blatantly easy to find, even in later stages. Defeating the Sphere Doomer rewards you with 2 energy spheres, making the quest to find them a little less difficult. Some energy spheres require a certain copy ability to get them, but usually, the enemy that has said ability is in the same room. Unlike Kirby 64, you won't be backtracking to get the appropriate ability. However, that doesn't mean that Return to Dreamland doesn't have any challenging moments. Navigating through the Sphere Dimmer Dimension does require you to think on your feet, but for the most part, the game's pretty easy. Starting with New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Nintendo has, one way or another, snuck in a co-op mode in most of their recent Wii titles. Kirby's Return to Dreamland is no exception. Multiplayer plays a huge role in this game. Up to 3 friends can join you on local play. Jumping in and out is simple enough, just press the minus button. Players can choose to play as King Dedede, Waddle Dee, Meta Knight, or a different color Kirby. Like in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Meta Knight is definitely OP and the most useful character thus far. Like Donkey Kong Country Returns, players all stay alive, but this doesn't add too much of a challenge. It doesn't matter how often the other players die. If player 1 dies, however, you will have to restart the stage. Many of the game's puzzles and challenges are made easier by co-op. Although it might take away from the challenge, it's more fun to play this game with friends. While co-op is a huge plus, Kirby's Return to Dreamland somewhat lacks in replay value. Defeating the main story and collecting all the energy spheres is fun, but there isn't much to do afterwards. Once the main story is beaten, the arena is unlocked, which allows you to fight all the boss characters again. EX mode seems promising, but it's just the main story again. The only difference is that you start off with low HP and the bosses are a little tougher. The stages, enemies, and even energy sphere locations are all the same. You can unlock the true arena and defeat the secret boss of this game, but playing through the entire story again doesn't seem to be worth it. Here's my verdict on Kirby Returns to Dreamland. Story gets an 8.5. It's cute, and I especially enjoy the March-like twist at the end. Presentation gets a 9. It may not be as artistic as Epic Yarn, but the game is colorful in its own right. Gameplay gets a 9.5. It's Kirby platforming at its finest, and the co-op is the major pull of this title. Replay value gets a 7. After defeating the main story and arena, I couldn't find a good enough reason to continue playing. EX mode was a huge disappointment, and it's not worth going through it just so you can fight a secret boss. Design gets an 8. The game's levels were fun, but not challenging enough. Finding the energy spheres didn't take too much work, and the game was way too forgiving when you made mistakes. Overall, I give Kirby's Return to Dreamland an 8.8. This title is a great co-op Kirby adventure.